Hi, I have not slept for the past week. Ever since Kirby and the Forgotten Land was revealed, I have not been able to sleep. The hype is just too big. The only thing I've been doing during that time is rewatching the trailer over and 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 over again. As a matter of fact, I am watching it right now. During my many rewatches, I have discovered some stuff, so I decided to write them down and share them here with you. This is going to be a long video, so let's just hop into this. Starting off in the very first scene, in the right, we can see an advertisement for an area we're going to be seeing later, which is the theme park area. In this scene, there really isn't anything I will be talking about right now. Here, to the top left, we can see an advertisement for the car that we later see in the key artwork for the game. Talking about the artwork, Kirby's pose here is actually an idle animation from Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Also, something that I noticed, the Forgotten Land here kinda looks like it's inspired by Japan's Ikushima Island and Hashima Island, two islands that have been abandoned in Japan. Is it just me, or does this rock kind of look like King Dedede? Here we see Kirby washed up on the shore. It's very likely that this is the cutscene that plays before the gameplay in the very beginning of the game. We might see another cutscene of how Kirby ends up here in the first place before this. Also here, I just kinda wanted to point this out. We can see sand falling off Kirby's face, and we can also see it kind of slowly fade, which is just really cool that Hal just added this detail. Here we get a new series logo. It's less italic and less long, and again, it's kind of straight and bold, which I kinda prefer this logo now. It feels more like Kirby. It feels more round and happy, and just more cute, which fits Kirby better. The very first scene of gameplay is the very first scene that we see in the entire trailer, which I think is cool. If you listen closely, Kirby's footsteps sound effect is new. Also here, you can see Kirby kicking a rock on the floor. If you look to the left, you can see that somebody drew Kirby and crossed him out. Somebody doesn't seem to like him. Here, of course, we get to see the new fox-like enemy. By the amount that we see them in the rest of the trailer, I think it's safe to assume that these little fellas are the new common enemy. AKA a Waddle Dee replacement, because Waddle Dees aren't going to be enemies in this game, as we see later on in the trailer. Also, I just wanted to point out, they have little beans on their feet and I think that's cute. It seems that an enemy makes a sound effect when they target Kirby. Listen. Also, I think that the jump sound effect is new. You can see a mysterious figure jump over them all, and then you can sort of make out their shape on the top. This is obviously the gorilla boss that we will see later on in the trailer. Also, there seems to be a banana horde on the right. By just how bright these bananas look, I don't think they are food items, but they could possibly be that. Or maybe you have to collect a lot of bananas to lure in that gorilla boss. The sound effect that plays when Kirby falls from a high place is also new. Take a listen. Also, when walking on grass, Kirby has a sound effect that makes it sound like he's walking on grass. In this scene, we have our very first look at Hothead. We also have our very first look at Cappies. And in the next scene, we have our very first look at Kaboo. In this scene, Kirby here is followed by a bunch of ducklings. The only way I can see this working is as a fetch mission. You know, like a mama duck going to Kirby and being like, "Help, my babies are missing! If you help me find them, I'll help you reach this locked area," and whatnot. So you might have to find a certain amount of duckies and bring them to their mama. When I saw that this was a theme park area, I just immediately thought of Magolor. So I'm not saying that Magolor built this, but I'm not saying that Magolor isn't related to this, maybe. Here we have a statue with two cute little egg-shaped dog mascots. This could be inspired by HAL Laboratories' logo, the Dreamhatcher. But it could also be inspired by the Hulkandrons being, you know, eggs. Also, these are the same mascots we see in the poster advertising the theme park in the very first scene of the trailer. In the Warp Store scene, there is a banner that says books. As a matter of fact, fans have found out that this is an alphabet for the game, and that every single written thing in this game with this forgotten text has an English translation. I'm not going to translate every single thing here, I'm not going to translate anything at all, but I might make it in another video. But I will briefly mention a name that pops up here and there, that being Arrival. I suppose that this could be the company that has created the city and all in it, and possibly what brought it to its doom as well. Maybe we might get a wall of text written in this alphabet in the final game. Here we have Kirby do his classic fourth wall break he does in many other modern games. You know, him smiling and waving at the camera. In this scene we also have our very first look at Shotzo. And not only that, but our very first look at Poppy Bros Jr. In this scene we of course get to see Kirby's in Hell. I think that it has a much longer range, and that it's taller than the 2D Kirby games. That's clearly to accommodate for the 3D environment. Also, as you can see, when you kill an enemy, they will drop a coin. Talking about these coins, these seem to be the replacements of the star bits from modern games. Instead, here we have flat coins with a star in the middle, like the ones in Kirby Blow-Up Blast, but even more like the ones in the challenge stages from Kirby's Return to Dreamland. With the number of coins that we see in the rest of the trailer, the economy here will probably be like in Star Allies, and due to that, lives are probably back, unless coins are used for something else like collectibles or whatnot. Going a bit more in depth with Kirby's moveset, it seems that the press and hold aim technique from Kirby's Blow-Out Blast is back. As you can see, before spinning out the inhaled fox enemy, Kirby stops jiggling and rotates to the right while staying in place, just like he does in Kirby's Blow-Out Blast. Here you can also see that Kirby no longer spits out the enemies as start bullets. Instead, we take the Kirby 64 route by spitting out the actual enemy. In the back here is a blue wall. This is probably the entrance of a Neo area that is locked away. Maybe it's unlocked with the shard item we see Cutter catch later in the trailer. But maybe in this area that item will be blue to match with the wall. It could be something else entirely though. If you look closely in the back, you can see a blue bunny creature. It could be an enemy or an NPC, who knows. Next to it we can see the fox enemy sleeping. We get a closer look at this animation in the next shot and later on in the trailer. Here we see Kirby inhale a new big enemy, with what appears to be a super inhale? Maybe. I came to the super inhale conclusion due to the enemy fighting against Kirby's vacuum and taking a while to enter his mouth. Also, again, like many other Kirby sound effects, this is the new sound effect for his inhale. The sound effect that is made when the inhaled enemy enters his mouth is also new. Here we get a look at the green coin. I think this could be a 5 coin. You know, a coin that values for 5. When spitting this big enemy out, it behaves like a super star bullet, or a big star bullet, or however you call it. Here we have a new big water enemy. It seems that they follow Kirby while he flies over them, while they hide under the water. They then lock in where they're gonna jump to and go in for a bite. Kirby here floats 10 times, and his height to fly is limited, just like how it is in Kirby Battle Royale. Once again, that's a new floating sound effect. Over there in the island, we have our very first look at Sir Kibble. In the island, there is a warp star. The warp star could be the end goal of a quote-unquote level, even though all the levels seem to be connected in this game. There seems to be a food item in the water. It could be a drink in a glass, maybe a new version of the orange juice. But this item could also be this game's collectible, like keychain stickers or puzzle pieces, with this instead being a capsule toy, probably holding a viewable 3D model inside. In this scene we can see Wolf standing in the bottom left, and we can see Gavin standing in the star block right above him. To the right we can see a lone bomb block. The stuff that it blows open is probably on the other side of the stage. We can also see in the very top of the building another warp star, proving my theory that this is like the end level even further. In this scene we got our very first look at the new porcupine enemy that most likely gives you the needle copy ability. Here we can also see Kirby block, just like he does in the 2D games, except that this time he crouches in fear instead of making a heroic block. Here we get our very first look at what seems to be a new enemy that we see 2 more times later in this trailer. One of those times being a way better look, but still missable. Also here in the back, we can see bread. In this scene, star doors are back. This could be an exit of this inside area, or just a transition into the other part of the area. Here we can also see Kirby do a new dodge, which is way bigger than the one he does in the 2D games. Also, this same area is shown later in the trailer. This here seems like the entrance to a boss battle arena. Personally, I think that this is the entrance to a tutorial boss, which I am crossing my fingers for Wispy Woods, or a clone of Wispy Woods. Also, here we get our very first look of Blade Knight. Also, if you look to the cage in the back, it seems to be held by bats. Here we get a better look at the cage, and it has a cat beast type design. This could be the leader of the main antagonist organization of this game, which is called Beast Corps, according to Nintendo's Japanese website on the game, and according to Google Translate translating that website. Once the Waddle Dees are broken free, we can see that the Waddle Dee in the middle is a little bit more red than the 2 on the back. This could be Bandana Waddle Dee because he is the most red Waddle Dee. Well, at least he used to be until Star Allies and Fighters 2 changed everything. Who knows, maybe this game might bring the return of Red Bandana Waddle Dee, aka the superior Bandana Waddle Dee. Here we have our very first look at Bronto Burt, and you can also spot an energy drink in the back. Here we of course get shown the return of the copy abilities, being introduced with the most iconic ability, Sword. And again, there is a new sound effect here, that being the sound effect made when you copy an ability. We don't just get a new sound effect, we also get a slightly updated visual effect. Here, the star effect done when getting a copy ability is kind of new. The stars form a star around Kirby, and in Star Allies they made a circle. Here, Kirby shows off the ability by attacking a new snake enemy with it. Kirby attacks out of running but does the normal attack instead of a dash attack. This could mean 2 things. Either dash attacks have been completely cut, or dash attacks have been set to a designated button, just like in Kirby Battle Royale. If you look closely, the sand area seems to be a dried ocean. If you look closer, we can see 4 Scarfies hiding in the back. Here we have a slightly better look at that new enemy, which is hiding in the back. Also, there seems to be a chocolate bar next to it. In this scene, we return to the circus area. We first get a look at horror traps returning from Kirby Triple Deluxe. Also, their eyes are blue instead of red. To the bottom right, we can see a way better look at the chocolate bar, although this chocolate bar looks a tad bit different to the one in the desert. To the left, we can see a couple of collapsed blocks, same towards where Kirby is going. Here we see that Kirby does a sword spin attack, meaning that chargeable attacks are back. That means that at least 2 types of attacks are back per ability, simple button taps and press and hold attacks. I'm not surprised that other moves might be cut, because directional inputs can be hard to implement in 3D. In this beach scene, we got our very first look at Glunk. If we look a little bit more to the back, we can see an explosive coconut, and if we look even more into the back, we can see Naughty, doing what Naughties do best, sleep. And of course, in this scene we see that Cutter is returning. Here we learn that Cutter Blade can pick up key items, like this diamond-shaped one, which is a piece of what could be a key item. You might need to collect 4 more of these to maybe open something, which I believe could be the big colored walls. Once collected, the piece makes the same sound effect made when you collect the keychain in Kirby Triple Deluxe. There is a water swirl in the back there. This could possibly harm Kirby if he swims over it. That is, if you're allowed to swim on it in the first place. Here we see the surprising return of Needle, and immediately we see it perform a new move. This move might be done when you press and hold the attack button and move around. And then we see the player let go of the attack button to blow up. Here we get our very first look at the Fire Copy ability. Also at the top we can see a new Gordo variation, Wide Gordo. Also, this shot seems to be in the same area we saw earlier, but this time at nighttime. Here we get a look at the ice area, including the Ice Copy ability in action. Kirby here moves by doing the Ice Breath attack, so you might be able to move slowly while doing it. Here we also get our very first look at Korori, an enemy returning from Kirby's Dream Land 3. And here we get a closer look at a new dog enemy holding a blunderbuss, which we earlier saw in the sand area and in the scene where Kirby shields. This enemy could possibly bring a new blunderbuss copy ability. Also, we can see a poorly hitting bomb block in the back. In this scene, we get to see a cutscene for what I assume is the boss battle in the mall area. In this scene, we got our first look at what seems to be the new companion character. We got a better look of them later in a Twitter post, which is drawn in the familiar Kirby Twitter art style. Kirby and this new character then get grabbed by a big gorilla, the same one we see jumping over the roof on the mall, way back at the beginning of the trailer. We can also see that the boss is wearing a cage with Waddle Dees as a necklace. I'm inclined to believe that the other bosses will also have the Waddle Dee cage as part of their design, or as part of their wardrobe. Also, in this quick scene, the Gorilla Beast doesn't seem to be holding Waddle Dees in his cage. If you squint, it could look like coins and food items, specifically for the green and red in the back, and what could be a bronze coin. In the final gameplay shot of the trailer, we get to see Kirby hop over the arm of the gorilla and kind of dash over it. This could be the sword dash attack done in the air, meaning that the dash attack could be designated to its own button, just like in Kirby Battle Royale. We end with a shot of the city and the release window, Spring 2022, and I am guessing that this game will release in mid to late April, near the date of Kirby's 30th anniversary, April 27th. And that's the end of the trailer, but I still have a few more things that I noticed while analyzing the entire trailer itself. First is that this game looks very much linear and not open world, so don't get your hopes up for that idea. This is already a big leap for Kirby, so just hopping over to open world wouldn't be ideal. The second thing I noticed is that the glorious music used for this trailer uses the Kirby's Triumphant Return leitmotif a total of 4 times. I think that's a new record! Still though, I guess it makes sense because this is Kirby's Triumphant Return. You can also hear a little bit of Green Greens in the song. Also, if you ask me, this seems to be a bigger budget Kirby game. We might be bombarded with cutscenes. We got one for the very beginning of the gameplay, we are definitely getting one for the intro telling us how Kirby got washed ashore, why are we there and what happened to the Waddle Dees, and it seems that we might get a short cutscene before every single boss. Maybe. I'm inclined to believe this because we have a cutscene right before the Gorilla boss. In conclusion, Kirby's moveset is pretty much identical to the ones in the 2D games, but adapted to 3D with limitations and other new stuff introduced in Kirby's Blood Blast and Kirby Battle Royale. Most of the sound effects are new, 7 areas were shown, a forest, possibly being the beginning/tutorial area, the city, which seems to be the center of this island and the main focus of the game, the mall, which could just be a sub-area of the city, or it could be its own quote-unquote world, the theme park including Spooky Night location, a grassland area near the city, a transition area between the grasslands and the city, a dried ocean playing the role of a sand area, an area surrounded by water, a beach area, and a snow area. 5 abilities were shown, with 2 more being assumed to be there, and 1 more that could be completely new. The ones deliberately shown being Sword, Cutter, Needle, Fire, and Ice. The ones that will most likely be there are Bomb, due to Poppy Bros Jr. being there, and Sleep due to a Naughty appearing in the back, with what could be a new possible blunderbuss ability due to that new dog enemy. We can assume that each ability will at least have 3 attacks: the regular jab attack, the press and hold attack, and the possible dash attack mapped to a separate button. We got a glimpse of returning enemies and a couple of new ones, including a replacement for Waddle Dees, since we're going to be rescuing them from the new enemy organization, Beast Corps. And trying to rescue the captured friends, Kirby crashes into the ocean and washes up into the shore of a forgotten land and discovers its many secrets, including a lost city possibly built by an ancient company, Alival. And that's pretty much all I kind of caught out of this. While the game is not open world, it still looks like a delightful experience and a dream come true. I just cannot wait no more until spring 2022. I still can't believe this is real. And I can't believe that this is a product that I will own. A product that I will play, and a product that I will enjoy and hold in my hand and taste, and oh my god, how is this real? I still can't process this. Like, Kirby is in 3D. Kirby is in 3D. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Kirby is in 3D. Oh my god, oh my god. He's moving in a 3D environment! Kirby 3D!